Bam! Okay. Let's just get right to it then. Wait. This is called The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Isn't that hard? Gonna be another Sherlock Holmes narration.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
I don't remember what voice I gave the Chief Justice. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. About the enormous beds. After my time on the SS Borea, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except when I learnt that we owed £3 for the rooms. That dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Ugh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ugh, London's a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh yes, we are, well... It's so weird when they rotate like that. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato sounds amazing. She doesn't even bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh, no longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more are you hoping for? I'm not reading this because I read it already. He's so sus. And why is he laughing so evilly? I just kept wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. What? I should have accepted that money. No. Mr. McGilded is dead? Was he in the carriage? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you presumably recall, an omnibus has been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGill had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded. It's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Yes, he sure did. I'm glad I didn't start this right away because there's a lot of flashbacks of stuff that would have just happened. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGill talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGill. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow. This Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Sato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. That can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? He's like... not bribing, but like... being like, right? You were so good at this. That's why I'm doing this for you. That's why I accepted you. Weird. What is he and Kazuma up to? Who was he and Kazuma up to? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow, then. Is everything alright? Oh yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it left me wondering if I'm really cut out to being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in the courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial. Ah yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. The situation remains unchanged. The trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until court sits. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, you said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I would like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh. Another thing? Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. What exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. Suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for the enlightening discussion. Miss Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Sogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I take the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details, as long as I'm in there. So I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do, Kazuma-san. What did you mean? Wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, I'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. I have to examine him. Is he eating chips? Fish and chips? Can we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know? But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm busy man. Very busy man. Crime scene to investigate, but I'm having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Yeah, that ripping sound, that's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. Don't need to rip us apart as well. How is his chips infinitely responding? I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Hey. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Hey! It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It's unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghorse has asked me to fill you in on the case. Name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson. What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, and that publication. What's it called again? Breast Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You have earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? Have to admit, to start with, I was a little, flattered by the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand. My reputation at the yard went through the roof. Oh, it's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Oh, are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. Fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. Eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people. Oh, about the case the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means... That's as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you'd be wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. The young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she still ended up in hospital, unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? Suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with the Susato takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question. Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Whatever not? Simple. The prosecutor has been assigned to the trial tomorrow. It's Lord Barak von Zeeks. No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself, the Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baron Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution. They call the accused his sacrificial lambs. In every single trial in which he's been prosecuted, the accused has been dead. It's Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because of every defendant who advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. And what's that? Oh, I think that means even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Ah, Magnus McGilded came cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are you really supposed to believe that? Well, I feel join as requested, and I'm very nearly off the chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We'll still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place. That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You branded him a criminal already? He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's in May 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. In May 53. Thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Something troubling me, Mr. Naruhodo. To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent... You can well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. I for one wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. Move. Police are on Briar Road right now, so I don't think I could investigate anything there yet. Unless Sholmes is around. Oh my gosh, an old-timey cell. We're just talking to him right there in front of the cell. So these are the British prison cells. Oh, the ghastly. Feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experience in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells are a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse. Apparently our client is in this cell here. but it's so dark at the back there I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representation's here to see you. Stop by in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Call me by a number. It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Miss Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea. I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. What? Excuse me, but who? Shh, quiet. What? What is he doing? They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. What's with his eyes? They're scribbly. Right. So could I ask you who exactly... There you are. You've come to test me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you ghost. Ghost? She's so bewildered. I mean, you're not armed, prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Japanese lawyers for a Japanese client. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it. It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown. And here I am, having a frightful fix in a foreign land. His eyes are N.A. So you're in the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in the dark, damp, dark hell was a most monumental, moving moment. What the heck? He's Ginyu Force? Sentai? Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us will turn out to be fellow Japanese? What compassion, my fellow countrymen show. Dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way in Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can. I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. What are you doing, man? Not quite sure I understand what he means, but seems happy. Is he a old-timey otaku? Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student, sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume. That's probably a Japanese pun, and I don't know enough Japanese to even guess at the whatever it is. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. Writer of haiku. Something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, don't be so prosaic. It's much more fine than that. And haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go study English. But I had to suffer that misery. Now this. It's beyond pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? Oh, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? They told me to study English literature. That I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewashy. Must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. I often like to be told, it seems. Could you perhaps tell exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit an atrocious murder. Murder? Oh no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? Didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was the cursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear when heavy with fog. I'd been to the big bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing green overcoat she was, just as I went to overtake her. That's the woman. She suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I'd get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of this fair-haired English? And a young woman at that. I'm different, shy, timid, unsure, diffident. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the young woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else at the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? Like, who else could have done it? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. It says he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. If that's the case, why is he in there right now? Surely this man has to be the culprit. Ah, you! What'd you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? Didn't touch the victim. There was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was dead in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Accursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed busybody, be gone. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese and some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. "This is the police, put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but it wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination, devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. There he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herlock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. His overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts apparently. Thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me? This weak-stooped kitten of a man. Wonder what great deduction process led him to this conclusion this time. Mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' reduction was the only reason the police arrested you. That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged away in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me, in impossible English. English foreign flim-flammery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do," and "I'm fine." Oh my god. Next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? It's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. Now we're speaking English, a simple mister is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes. They've really got to me. This country's poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student. I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. Not even the foreign student who's supposed to be here. I'm sort of a locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of the defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, what do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. Not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you to suspect, son. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. It's awful. I'm wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So at the very least, like to entrust my life with someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I see what you've been through. Osaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We should investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, give us much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going to Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Fire Road. So this is where it happened. Fire Road. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Police. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see with my own eyes. It's often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet? What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Grayson. He's on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. So do what you will. Don't bother me. He looks in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh, stone cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard. It's the most sophisticated policing organization you'll ever find anywhere in the world, man. Oh, and you know, I've always tried wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. I certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you. Oh really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes around and rouses all the labourers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yep, wraps on the windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. I had no idea. Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has about 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I can't really imagine how far it is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting up the street lamps. Oh my. I suppose in between all those duties, Bob is expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to evade the law. Not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle this job as well. We do have men killing over from time to time, I admit. I I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that to you, Mr. Baruch. Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. That happens around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just hear that open bit of paper. The young woman was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady's still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in a hospital. Never said she was a lady. The truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, you won't be able to find out much about her at all. Suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? You sure? It's the odd policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. I gracefully accept. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So did it, you think? How much of a head-scratcher is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present. Sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. Wait, what? I have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see him. They're witnesses now? Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife. The man, one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. A policeman? That might change things. And the policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked. Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching him bang in the act and all that. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Oh. No doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So I'll give you something to look forward to. That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. The policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you, this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I heard it was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for? As what they said, the colors drained from his cheeks. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Can you go and defend him or no? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer would have touched that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? No way to save the man now. It's wasted time trying. It is all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. The only people usually bother us with are the real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones. The master criminals? The violent ones? That's right. He unpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he accused. Surely. It's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say it was intent. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. For some reason he's taken an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? Think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself for tomorrow's trial. You're gonna have to face the Reaper again, the Lord of the Darkness, as he put it. Sholmes. Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. Said Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was a result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great productions. Bit flower. The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh, don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He has a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Yo, gabble. Ever seen this before? Oh yes, it's Rand's magazine. A wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes appears. Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stores. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. You're asking about the Yard to misventure to include in any of Sherlock Sholmes' tale at all. Well, I suppose there is an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. Man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard as he is to all the criminals. Oh, can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly, the Great Detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Hodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh yes, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly. Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. Trouble is, we have no idea where the man's address even... It's Baker Street. How do you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street. The most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. Better try to find our way there before Susatsu-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage. So we're to have a reunion already. The Great Detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Can I examine? Hehe, what a delightful snowman. Snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. Still creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf, look. You'd need one if you're out here and out in the freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford the scarf. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. I'll just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? So if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. Oh my god. Silly. It's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs, despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. responses. Sure, it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. Does you no favors at all. Ugh. Strand Street? Oh look, at the windows of the building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. This bicycle's wrecked. Oh, British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden in. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. Seems bicycles become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. Bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just any occupation involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you ever tried walking on stilts and fall into a river, I know you'd agree with me. We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind while I ride you around. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. All time certainly seems to have taken a toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than other houses around here. Let's find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, right, cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. There are piles of snow and pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed all in black. I would worry coachmen might not see you, and you could be flattened by the horses. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Let's go to Baker Street. Anime.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Showers.
Fancy. This is where the Grand Detective makes his living. Feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the stories, Mr. Sato? Susato-san? Many famous cases have been sold here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly and disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the romanticism. Can't you feel the heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So if you don't mind, just let me get in. I'll just stand and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me. She's obsessed. Well, it's like our detective friends at home at present. Was the door unlocked? Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Oh, it's her. I don't remember what accent I gave her. I said I wouldn't, and I definitely don't. Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello. Wait, aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. Sure, it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who's just here? Oh yes, she's truly extraordinary. I think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bavaria? King Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment and look over there. The tea is brewed, and I have freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you. My voice. Anyway, Susato-san recognizes her too. Yes, she was at the courtroom yesterday. We all turned up at the end of Mr. McGilded's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Or you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh yes, it was challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look like that? Look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner! I tried blending different leaves together to alleviate fatigue, you see. Must be exhausted after your long voyage here. And you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley? Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today. He was just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. I wonder if she knows so much about us. Did she deduce all those things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point, why didn't she hear Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? Yes, who are you? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley. Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? Sato-san, why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what's your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely, Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie. And Runo. There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. This place has a lot going on. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing. I can't relax, not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories. It is? Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example. And my chocolates for 11sies. And transfixed by that large jackknife is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the universe of Herlock Sholmes. Of course, Susato-san just crushed. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy with equally sturdy lock. Miss Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Ooh, the chest. Contains some of my most valuable things. And that smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole thing's going to topple at any moment. I keep telling Hurley not to cram so much on those shelves. Good advice. He wanted to look something up in one of the books a while ago. But it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get it out, so he went and bought a new corky instead. That's ridiculous. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament. Oh, those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases. Really? Even the bust? Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust. More defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it? Yes, and then he buys a new one. You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor. Oh, how entrancingly bohemian of him. Oh my gosh. This is where it works. What a beautiful English tea set, so neatly arranged. Favorite pastime of mine, cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea made of herbs. That's right, I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, go away, I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today. She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too. Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. Explode? Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes indeed, and as Hurley always says, chemistry is an explosive science. Sorry? I agree, a single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world. Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. No! Cursor went back to normal by accident. Wow, there's that big black lump over there. Ah, that fascinating thing is called a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to press on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly too. Ooh, that sounds like it could be very useful to someone like me with terrible handwriting. Oh, is that everything here? Cool. Skull. I have some pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which is the closest Japanese string instrument I can find. What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh, yes. Well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it's merely an ornament in my room. That must have been an awkward conversation. What on earth is It's this huge over-the-top machine. That's the great analytoscope. Can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help with his investigations. What sorts of things does he analyze with it? Do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh. Why not? Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him, I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Oh dear. How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze? The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. That cannonball? Or a crystal ball? Cool, now I can talk to her. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey. Yes, right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Like this. Ooh. Oh, thinking back now, you left with Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Is it Jean led astray? Is that it? Sorry, still trying to figure out what her pun was. Jean led astray. Oh, Ginny. Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. Very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that. Are you referring to that trial-disrupting like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl's dangerous. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician. She's pouting. Sorry, you're a technician? Hurley, of course. See? Hurley. Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter? Not likely. What? I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommates? And they were roommates. Hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh no, they're not around. Oh, I see. Wonder what the story is there. Oh yes, there's something else to ask you. Of course, go ahead, Susie. Susie. I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and oh, you have a copy of Run's magazine. Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It'd be a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you're the author. Yes, I'll let you in on secrets if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure the Speckled Band. Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories in there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case, exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you? So, do you mean to say about the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine? All written by me, yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. So that sounds getting more and more worked up. Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine. No, at 10 years old. At 10 years old. Well, that's quite incredible. But Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? Great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Okay. I suppose it does, yes. Of course, it's not so fun. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. About before. Yes, what's on your mind, Renault? You tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer? We just arrived in London, I mean. Sorry, checking something. Yes. Oh, and that we had a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Oh, we're doing this again. First of all, I already knew you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said we only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket. Oh. So I was reasonably confident that you must have all just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I? Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. You can use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And the red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you is wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded the prison is unlikely to be a friend or relative. That led me to believe they must have accepted a new case.
I see.
How could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly it must have been Mr. Natsume.
Now Runo has the fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man who they caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. We both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley's always stabbing his note with a knife, you know. He is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
Yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying?
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, great detective is a man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man.
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. So Seki-san did say he didn't see anybody else on the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. There was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow's too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear. I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are all short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering some of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
I don't know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment. Yes, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well. I expect Charlie's still investigating the scene.
The case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Nuts. Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings.
Natsume.
If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson while you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson. Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What's this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Why did I read that only? It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this will make the inspector helpless, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try. Good luck, then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band, and I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. I'll be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris.
Oh, I was going to present her stuff, but I only thought about it afterwards.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. Dang it.
It was somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. Oh, we continued. Let's keep going. Although, this is a good time for a break, so let me just load into some music, and then I'll BRB. Have a stretch and all that. Looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave for him. I'll show you my badge. My badge, I mean armband. Inspector Gregson, could I show you this? I'm supposed to know what that is. I've never seen that insignia before. Worn by defense lawyers in the Empire of Japan as a symbol of the profession. In other words, it's a worthless trinket here in Great Britain. Oh no, it's very important to me. It shows my spirit. The English gentleman keeps things like his spirit very much to himself, I'll have you know. Oh. Don't give up, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too late. He's crushed my spirit already. Anyway, yes. Put the thing. Alright, be right back. Okay, back. Let's go. Give you this. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much busy talk to pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure. We have these for you. Presents for Miss Iris Wilson. What? For me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here, at once. Come here. Hand it over. That's for me. Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? The silver crown, obviously. There's a lot more than that. Well, it's an appearance fee, that's what it is. Appearance fee? Oh, I see. I mean... That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship offers me a little financial reward for featuring me, every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, but using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I am sorry, Inspector. It must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. So on, fire away. What do you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, I'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Nakame's lodgings. A little knife-wielding, mouse-moustache Japanese fellow. Lives in the right old hole. It's just over there, look. First floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord's of Mr. John Garrett. Right, well, see her again. Make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. So don't worry, Inspector, we will. Bye for now, then. Long live her ladyship. Saluting her. Well, he told us what he wanted to know before he left. What we want to know. Yes. So then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. I help you? Ah yes, would this be the president of Mr. John Garrett? Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Naruhodo's representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. She smiled for like a brief moment. I'd very much like to ask him some questions about our client. What's with her? One moment, please. Convey the message to Mr. Garrett. Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was real-life English maid. I know, as I understand that anyone standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like it's really arrived now, doesn't it? You need only to meet a butler and the experience will be complete. I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrett will see you now. This way. He's been there the whole time? The uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. That whole thing? Not much better than rags, really. Oh? Well, that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But but I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't have to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past.
That looks like a Medal of Honor. A showcase on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say, although it bothers me it's not straight. What, that whole thing? Sorry? Should be glad to see the back of it, but the General would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's a better place for it. Keeps the boy thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose.
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation."
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be feeling for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was getting that from my time in the army. He's stirring his tea with his pipe. Got measured officer by a number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. That portrait of Mr. Garrett was glaring at me, I swear.
And notice that all the delightful frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrett as well.
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion at the mantelpiece as well. Oh yes, seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket. Seemed to come back? What do you mean? Chap who runs the place is a boy wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to be quiet.
Just had some doesn't pull her punches, or her throats for that matter.
Look at that enormous screen. Must have put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view.
What could be behind it, I wonder? We're going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Maybe that's not Miss Osato. I think the maid's gonna head us off with a cup of tea. Whoops. I clicked out of it again.
Oh, look. A wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? Looks more like someone has half demolished them to me. I can't see them because it's the very edge.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Caradeb's custom to take 2 cakes with this tea. It sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste leftovers.
So whatever Mr. Caradeb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have it tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. This fattening up his maid.
Candlestick. This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. That old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really. Oh. Used when I was studying, don't you know? For my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but well, it still has its uses sometimes.
Of course.
Does everything's room have some elaborate story behind it?
The memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories.
Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful?
Well, the shelves seem to be broken. And the crockery is...
Oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps a cannon was fired at it.
Yes, probably something like that. Well, let's not put too deeply here.
This window looks out over Briar Road where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. This thing open at all, I wonder? You shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir. Sorry? As soon as you open that window, tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner will go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. It seems very unlikely these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Are those mortar shells? They're enormous. Oh, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here? Ah, those old things. A couple of little rounds I accidentally fired to the barracks during training, you know. Became a bit of a colourful regiment folklore, that incident. You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells? Well, I wouldn't say deliberately, exactly. Only scrap iron after all. Usually just thrown away, I believe. But you know when things might come in useful to you? Useful for what, exactly? Yes, well... Joan here did manage to knock up one of the bally things on my foot the other day while she was dusting. Oh no. I haven't shed tears since 1869 before then, you know? Maybe reconsider throwing them away? Ouch. It's a full-size cannon. What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That whole thing. Bah, that's a little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was sliced off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really, isn't it? Overkill. Be prepared, I always say. Never know what this twisted world's got thrown at you next, boy. You think there may be trouble brewing in Mr. Garrett? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the back, you see. They'll dry very well on the cannon there. Joan tells me. They dry very well on the cannon. Which rather proves my point, I fear. It's mirrored this to a drying rack. No wonder the huge can looks like it's hanging its head in shame. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrett. You enjoy reading? I've experience on the winter, boy. Nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Rant's magazine here, I see. Does that Mr. Garrett enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too? Great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Good day to you. John Garrett at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Rionosi Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me for not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the battle of my one, you know, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, bad to withdraw from service. Under over the reins to the up-and-comings. He was a retired soldier. A hell of a job getting up and downstairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yeah, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Ugh, do you think so? Well, Mr. Gary Deb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it's just nothing. Medal's just formal, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly display it on the wall. Why don't you fish it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetched it. Dash it all, woman, be careful. Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly near took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it. Living a quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes, we'd be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blight. We've forged in lines with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? We got some famous detective poking around, you know. This old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Hillock Jones. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea and all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of the Rance magazine here, so... Hey, no. Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreign's room as we speak. It looks like Isan's room. It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. Like all this fuss, it's jolly unsettling. How Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrida? Please do tell us. Oh yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So I've moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. First floor room became available a week ago. You dash it, Dr. Joan, do be careful. Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. And she jiggling her cheeks. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. I won't be calling this man as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Did you notice anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. He never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day. Comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I'd never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! I understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct? That's right. Of course, on the first floor on street level. Then how is it you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed. Yeah! Good grief, Joe, be more careful, woman. Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir. She does that to change the topic. Something doesn't add up here. Since the incident took place around 5 in the evening, did you happen to look out the window at around that time? Window. Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrett household. I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see on the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Child? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well. Yes, was there something there? It's nothing particularly significant, but around that time here, there... For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing. What are you doing to me? What have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir.
If I may, Mr. Naruhodo. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at the tower. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Airdead? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it's just a trifling matter. Nothing of... John, dash it all, what is the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We slept down to a quite uneventful meal. John? That's right, Mr. Airdead. What is the matter with these two? Sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? Wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Certainly. It's below us on the first floor. And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there even as we speak. Yes. Told me Nat's name and asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume is engaged Mr. Sholmes' services. That's a blatant lie. It'd be alright if we also had a look around at Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything to help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. I am out of here. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Is that a cat? I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. Oh, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was a window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. For some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spoken to Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to Mr. Gardeb's told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere, investigating. Is he, like, hanging out somewhere? Like, on the ship? Cat. So cute. Oh my, what's an adorable little cat? Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master's away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mickey, wasn't it? Do they have that sort of cat here in Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's making me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. There are notes scrawled all over them, in English. Looks like the waste paper basket's so full they've just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up in a mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. That has to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountain of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit here and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books.
Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, and the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m.
That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
Suddenly Sholmes. Look at those books stacked up there. They almost reached the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
Well, books, with this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No, what's a dreamy idea?
Bad dream, maybe, for me at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
So reading is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
Certainly didn't expect this conversation to turn on the path of tea ceremony philosophy.
The heck is tea ceremony? Oh, look, it's a beckoning cat from home.
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way here from Japan with him.
Hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. You're forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage.
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm.
I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. This cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it?
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word.
Why are my eyes such a giveaway?
Alright, Sholmes.
I'll look at you. Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from?
Seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. Hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. You two. Good day.
Now, let me see.
Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Buria. Yes, of course, the Buria.
Let me see, what happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Sogi. He died tragically, but you were a great help to us.
Yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Sogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh, well, you seem to remember something of it at least.
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Jones. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato. Turn the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London, but some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I saw them in no more than 30 minutes. We apprehended Soseki-san in that short amount of time. I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It's a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know. An invention entitled Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. It means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is not a place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodging of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. Seems you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along these lines. Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Susato, but I have not the slight idea what you mean. Huh? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. That doesn't make sense. The good detectives of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. Speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you. But it was my aggravating to my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garrideb, retired military man. The first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution, that is, the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Institution, that is, service. Punny. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. It is for precisely that reason I find great stimulation in this situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb. Oh? Affable as he is, if there was hiding something, whether or not it imposes on the circumstances in this case, I am yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. He's hiding something. Doesn't know if it has to do with the case. What's so hard about understanding that? This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Oh, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely. Not a tax on windows. Precisely that. My goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of the windows. Those of lesser means have inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps, rapidly closed windows up.
the rich, open windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. Awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe that the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. No? Still, that is a little relevant here. The matter not worthy further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. It was not your intention to become a practitioner of law. Remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. Thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. There are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of crime 2 days ago was a Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrett is? Mr. Sholmes said it as much before actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. Well, you're right. Perhaps it's time to probe a little deeper into Mr. Garrett's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be irrelevant or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. And I can't look over there anymore. Ah, you there again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Sherlock Holmes? Ah yes, rings a vague bell. All the detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. And there we go again. Now, why don't you tell me what... For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what your Bollywood are doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind. Oh, yes, of course.
I'm deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. How'd you get to yourselves out? Going to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. How? Are we going to just look at things right in front of them? Nope. I guess we're leaving and talking to other people about him. Ah! Wait, can I show them my thing? No, I can't show them anything. I guess that's why they're not front and center. Where do I go? Next person? Seems we can't meet with Mr. Natsume at the moment. Oh. He's being briefed about his appearance in court tomorrow, apparently. I see. Yes, the trial's only a day away. Alright, then let's come back later. Dang it, I wasn't here. Yes. I really hope he's not answering more questions with inappropriate textbook answers like, yes, I do. So it isn't Garrett's room? But I talk to Sholmes again. Oh, probably talk to them again. No, I don't. Oh, now I can look over there? Wait, Sholmes is there? Oh, hello there. Ah, what's he doing over there? Oh, we're gonna do a deduction, whatever. Mr. Sholmes? Aha, we meet again, my dear fellows. Gracious, why did you sneak in here? Sherlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. So what are you doing over by the window? I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. It's sadly cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is. It lacks an aperture for observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye on one's window at dusk is a prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Oh, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There's just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Has this conclude the matter before dark? Mr. Garrett, though it would seem you're a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, it is not too clear to me. A two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Hey? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. It's no photo, look. The man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Shum's conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly? How could they possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reason, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot. Nature of the beast. Certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. But a fearsome beast is now on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man of military breeding, your eyes are uncomfortably candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast has run rampant here, revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. The fact has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Oh. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrett. At Batty's Circus, a travelling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold savage lions, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Do you have to watch the whole thing before doing anything? Before doing corrections? Now, Mr. Garrett, it's plainly clear you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, that blithe post, the distress this loss has caused you is virtually tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, and the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this pile of bills has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ugh. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had devastating impact on our financial circumstances of your household.
And so you had no choice but to let it go. But yes, well, Now, on the final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dear me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Oh. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who was in the position to reveal the truth to me. Your wandering eyes settle upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. I don't think so, Sholmes. Somehow I don't think so. There's no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it not once said by a certain noble woman, "They have no bread, let them eat cake"? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. Teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with that of a lion. Those of a lion I once saw in India. What are you talking about? This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. What's the matter with you, Joe? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people feel tears at times, too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? All your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it's the only explanation for the fires. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. Wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Oh, that's what you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they saw the lions at the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Mrs. Soto, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, wherever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, it's a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine once again. I had a feeling that was coming. Slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again from the beginning. Sherlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Right. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast has run rampant here, as revealed by that lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing happening. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrett's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. It couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? I must follow Mr. Gadeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. It's not the murder shells, is it? Was one of them live? Can I move anywhere else? Wait, what? What's this? This photograph appears to be of Mr. Garrett's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. Now, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. And what happened? The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. There are not cracks to hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would do kind of plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you want to accept, that's for sure. Oh look, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual sign. Looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. This must have been when Mr. Garrett was still in the army. Seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly, beaming a smile at the same time. I suppose he was very strong in his younger years. Hard to imagine now he's thin as a rake. These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them. Imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrett from his time in the army. Ah, of course, he mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Remember, he said he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. Around that side of his knee, there'd be nothing left of Mr. Garrett for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has the Persian slipper. This man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Was it... Is his maid his wife? And is she the one that destroyed stuff and he thinks of her as a terrifying beast? Wait, can I present the... No, but if it's like the first one, it'll be like, oh, the frame itself instead of what's in the frame. So, maybe his wife?
Take that!
Yeah! It was her. The true nature of this beast that's run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrett. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast was so clearly savaged this room. It was your wife, Mr. Garrett. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam. Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction... Your dress pocket. Yeah. Poor fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrett anywhere. It seems there may be a clue to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. Isn't she like right here? Yeah, she's right here. That's her. What a charming little teapot. It's in pristine condition. Joan had been pouring some deliciously fragrant tea from it for Mr. Garrett, hasn't she? Not so much for Mr. Garrett, as on Mr. Garrett, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't dream of drawing attention to it. Too tightly shut eyes to avoid even the chance of a giveaway glance. Pursed lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Mr. Sato. It's your turn of phrase that's unnerving, Mr. Naruhodo. She's wearing a very large ring, look. Oh yes, a sunflower design, with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of the left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's in there for life, too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know Mr. Garrett's recent photograph had a ring very much like this one? It's a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. Sunflower wedding ring.
Take that!
Wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrett's wife in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrett's lucky bride. You, Mrs. Garrett herself. Oh my. What? Gotcha. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is my wife, yes. I do. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a fully corker back. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I'm second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid to employ. Yes, here in London, I was rather judged. Household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are folly. You mean Mr. Garrett had his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrett? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secrets, please. The raging wife of Mr. Garrett. Now, Mr. Garrett, it is plainly clear you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that life post, the distress this loss has caused you is very tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain that you feel revealed by that supporting arm. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrett's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. Mr. Garrett is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seemed to be propping up his head. Has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett's pain is tangible. What could that pose of his really signify? His cheek is slapped. Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, it's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrett has been slapped in the face, it seems hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. It was you, Madam Joan Garrett. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. That's why I only see like half his face like that. How the blazes? How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us, even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrett to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is the pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for the lion fodder? Yes, now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling food was Mr. Garrett's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she also person gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard left a perfect handmark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman who want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Oh, someone must be reading his book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garrett is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks, made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Those bookmarks are actually love note then. This card that looks like it's being used as a bookmark is actually a love note. Yes, reading, Oh James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Garrett's first name is Joan, isn't it? Yes, I believe we may be heading into dangerous territory here. Very conspicuous after all, isn't it? You mean the bright red lips next to the woman's signature? Yes, it's the first thing you notice, of course. It rather makes your heart skip a beat.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. She's angry. Perhaps the sender of this note is to Miss Mary is the fly of the ointment here? She slapped him again. But I don't know the Bolly woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I've been saying. Aha! Unlikely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using those as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying. Unlikely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Unlikely story. Oh, are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicion of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath, which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dear me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eyes settle upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. But surely Mrs. Garrett didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mrs. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need only follow Mrs. Garridib's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. It's handbill? It's an advertising handbill for the circus. Patsy's Circus. This nearby park. Isn't it the same we saw earlier? The one that was folded up in Mrs. Garridib's pocket? Perhaps a very great circus lovers? It couldn't be the Hungry Lion is somehow involved again here, could it? Oh dear, I hope not. So many cakes. Is that all you can think about? Well, look at them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's a mountain of them. They all look so delicious. It's more a tower than a mountain, I'd say. Mountain. It's my hope that one day in our very homeland, I will be able to perform the tea ceremony at the foot of such a mountain. It's definitely a tower. Can we go over there now? No? Carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears that match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yes, you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in all sense at all. Yeah, it's that candle, right? Oh, the candlesticks here. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks so small. It shows very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a close look at this. There's only one candle missing. Yes, I did notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of 3 missing from the holder?
Take that!
Bam! Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way to this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It appears that this was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garrideb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, But the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! She caught him. That's cute. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Elementary. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material, to which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And the beast is certainly not described. Here we go again. The carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? For to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. You had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Garrideb. Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Oh. Had my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. And the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favourite. Book called The Lion's Pride. Lion's Pride? Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. The poor man really do something dear to him as a result of a ferocious beast rampage. Mr. Chef's deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. Full of Blighty could have been flattened outside in my window at that moment. and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? This was not helpful at all. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we're to the bottom of Mr. Garrett situation now. What does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army meant to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be irrelevant or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories. Those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? If we're to pick up Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. So Sugi-san will be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. What a miserable sight. Oh dear, but at least the whole room was engulfed in flames. I suppose so. My whole collection went up in smoke, you know. All those novels I adored so much. Well, John, whose fault is that? Not mine, that's for sure. Well, whoever may or may not be to blame, I'm quite sure you can buy some new old books to replace them, can't you? New old books? Holy nonsense. Does sound like a contradiction in terms, but then these two are full of contradictions. It's couples for you, Mr. Naruhodo. That's what I've been led to believe. Oops. Time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Tell Cat. Oh. What's the matter? Looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garrett house. What the heck? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Who are you calling old man, you rum-looking niminy-piminy? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in philosophy. Who's this Horatio fellow? What are you on about? Excuse me. Hey, what the? Who are you now? Sorry, just looked as though there might be some problem here. My associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. Hey, a lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. From Japan, but I have studied English law. Fine, I'll be on my way for today. You mark my words. This ain't over yet. He looks like Popeye. Get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? These are our witnesses, aren't they? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What's that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? in the garret residence. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garrett had mentioned he came out a lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy eponymous in my battle of words, ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle did you say? Who's the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Miss Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. Are you students? Together? I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume's gentlemen are acquaintances at least. So fair maiden, so good gentlemen, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems you're unaware of what happened to Natsume, so he can't really help us. He's a witness, come on. The Saseki-san, that man is lodgers. The garret house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find the carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly waiting on return. Let's hope we can get to prison before visiting hours are over. Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese. Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the facts. Such is my belief, at least. It's you! The miserable, rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home, see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? What is your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your tasty books. My day has been a delight, and cost me a penny. You! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. Should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my life will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? You mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. There's much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Curse is a whole appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what do you mean by what you said just now, about the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why are you looking at me so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. It's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived the trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper, but then after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGill. What? Ah, I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Shawms. Surely can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zix killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Of course he is. Of course he is. Why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth of the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Oh, it's a whole other topic. Van Zix is quite an exceptional man. However, in London's court of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Oh, that's good. Seki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. This is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means a wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, it is from time to time, my dear madam. It's simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zix cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the adjudication may still leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled on their passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever. Or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm dead, Dodo, done for, doomed. When you said accursed lines before, you were referring to your room in Mr. Garrett house, right? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. It must have been very lonely having been far away from your homeland for such a long time. I had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, that's why I was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all just true.
I mean, the room really is cursed then? Ever since I went to that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer. But I'm in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all. To believe. Yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At that time I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is why. Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you've misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust another is final analysis down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. Defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. That comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guards will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow. I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced the British court for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. My instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Look, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I'll fight for your innocence till bitter end with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, That your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Susato. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. It's time to stop looking backwards. Cosmo believed in me. Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. So Seki-san is no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him to fight his corner, tomorrow in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Whoa. I was gonna keep going, but it's actually later than I thought it was. So... I think I'll stop here. Alright. Thanks for watching. After the fact, it seems, in this case, but that's fine. And I'll be back tomorrow, I hope. Bye.